Good evening. Welcome to the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Leading off in the news today, Philadelphia police officer has been indicted for 2017 alleged murder charges. A former police officer is now facing charges for the 2017 murder of an unarmed black man. On Friday, 33-year-old Eric Ruck was indicted on first and third-degree murder counts, among other charges, for the murder of 25-year-old Dennis Plowden Jr. According to police, briefly pulled Plowden over, but the 25-year-old took off. And he led authorities on a high-speed chase, which ended when he crashed the car. He reportedly exited the vehicle and fell on the ground, after which Ruck allegedly fired his weapon. Within 6 to 8 seconds of arriving on the scene, former officer Ruck shot Plowden once, explained Philadelphia District Attorney Larry Kressner. The bullet passed through his raised hand and wounded 3 fingers and traveled directly into his head. Plowden's widow, Tanya Bond, filed a civil lawsuit last year against the city. Ruck and several other officers. Ruck will likely be held without bond due to the first-degree murder charge. Now, I'm going to give my opinion on this. How many of you, if you were a police officer, somebody who pulled them over for a regular traffic stop, took off and started running and lead you on a high-speed chase, what would you think would be going on? What do you think was this situation? I would assume the gentleman was either guilty of a robbery of some type, or either he was running from a crime he had committed. So the officers, or a record, he probably had a record or something, but of course they're doing it as murder charges, but we'll see how that goes through this indictment. It's very sketchy as to how he was shot and how the man got out the car. Now, he fell down on the ground. When people stop in crashes, they could fall on the ground and get up and start to try to run. So that's quite possible as well. So we'll see. All the details will come out in the trial upcoming. So we'll be watching that. In other news, the Wisconsin police speak out after 3 consecutive nights of violence. Police in Wauwatosa, Wisconsin, are speaking out after 3 consecutive nights of protests and riots in the city. According to police, they responded to broken windows at businesses and bricks thrown into the windows of homes on the night 1. Stores in Milwaukee were looted while rocks and bricks and bottles were thrown at law enforcement officers. On night 2, police said they rescued several stranded civilians who were trapped in their vehicles amid the demonstrations. They also responded to an attempted looting in Milwaukee and multiple instances of reckless driving that blocked all lanes of traffic. Now, in my opinion, they need to declare martial law, and the National Guard need to go in there and round those people up and get them off the streets. I don't care who they are, peaceful or not. They're involved in these protests. They're out in the streets at night. They need to put a mandatory curfew, maybe 7 o'clock at night, get them off the streets to end all this destruction in Wisconsin. This mess has to stop, and we know that the Democrat Party is behind a lot of it anyway, because they're going to try to keep unrest going, and they want to keep blaming President Trump for this unrest. Authorities also reported at least 1 rioter who pointed a gun at law enforcement officers. On night 3, the situation grew worse. Police stated demonstrators were seen with Molotov cocktail and other fire-starting supplies. Guns were also spotted in the crowds. Meanwhile, more objects were thrown at law enforcement, while vandalism and reckless driving continued in the area. The unrest initially kicked off on Wednesday in response to the officer-involved shooting of a 17-year-old Alvin Cole. His mother and 2 sisters were arrested during the Thursday night protest. I'm very upset. I'm disappointed with the outcome, stated Tracy Cole. We need justice. This state's been playing with us too long. This undated family, they have an undated family photo. But critics believe the shooting and law enforcement response to the protests were unjustified. And I think that's a load of crap. They probably were very much justified. You got people throwing stuff at you and trying to harm you. What are you going to do? You're law enforcement. However, police officers noted they've seen an escalation in force by the protesters. They reiterated their law enforcement response was in reaction to the escalation. Protesters have Molotov cocktails, other fire-starting supplies, guns spotted in the protest crowd, throwing rocks and bottles at law enforcement officers, broke windows at businesses, reckless driving, blocking intersections. When asked whether the protest should have remained peaceful or not, Cole's mother expressed, "It is what it is. It is what it is." She sounds like Nancy Pelosi. What foolishness. It is what it is. They're tired of the system, and they're tired of police brutality. Let's send them overseas since they're so tired of police brutality. We'll have more laws, and they'll definitely be restricted in their movement. Moving forward, the Wauwatosa Police Department reaffirmed they trust their officers to assess what is happening on the scene. They added their goal is to maintain peace. And that is their goal, people, to maintain peace. You people there in Wisconsin, you need to wake up. And those of you that have neighborhoods there, you need to come out. You need to protect your neighborhoods as well. Allow the police department to help you, to protect you as well. You know, this is getting tiresome. And it's all because of Black Lives Matter and Antifa, who are both radical Marxist organizations, just as our Democratic Party has gone radical and become Marxist-type individuals as well, lying on other politicians, lying on our president, Joe Biden, Kamala Harris. Both of them stand up and tell straight-out lies. Former President, Vice President Biden, he's standing up talking about what he's going to do, but everything they're saying, President Trump is already dead. We're already bringing back America. The economy's already coming back. What are they talking about? And Miss Kamala Harris is talking out both sides of her mouth. She said that whole thing that she did in this supposed debate, which I don't see as a debate at all, she didn't do very well. I don't know how she made it as an attorney. Very poor debate skills with her. And disrespecting our vice president, to me, is no way to act if you're up for the vice presidential office. Okay, moving on. We're going to take a short break right now here on the Black Conservative Voice, and we'll be right back with you in a moment. I'm David Colbert.
Dr. Melinda Morris supports a strong economy, safe neighborhoods, limited property taxes, and promotes an improved education system. Dr. Melinda Morris wants to improve access and insurance coverage for medical care. Dr. Morris is pro-life and will support right-to-life legislation in Austin. Dr. Morris will remain true to her values when she is elected to office. She is going to Austin to promote life, prosperity, and personal freedom for the constituents of Senate District 13.
To every single mother, every small business owner, every farmer, every cancer survivor, and every woman out there who has ever been put down by the establishment, it's time to stand up. On November 3rd, we need you to write in Ola Hawatma on the ballot under New York 19th Congressional. Make history in the New York 19th District with the first woman to win by a write-in. Don't just vote. Make history on November 3rd, 2020. Write in Ola Hawatma.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. Vice President Pence speaks at a Latinos for Trump event in Florida on Sunday. While speaking during a rally in Florida this week, the vice president shared President Trump's goals and thanked the country for their outpouring of concern for his health. Mike Pence began by reporting the first couple is doing well and added the administration is continuing to work to open the country once again. He went on to speak about the development of the coronavirus vaccine and told the crowd to be prepared for a cure by the end of the year. Pence then championed the president's support of Latino Americans by citing record high school graduation rates within the community and record low unemployment nationwide. He highlighted the wide array of schools parents had to choose from within the state. He also pointed out how Biden and Harris sought to end school choice. President Donald Trump, and I believe, he said, that every parent should be able to choose where their children go to school, regardless of their income and their area code, he stated. We're going to fight for more school choice for the next 4 years. Pence then touted President Trump's continued pro-life, pro-police, and pro-military stance. Under President Donald J. Trump, we're not going to defund the police, not now, not ever, he said. We're going to back the blue. The vice president also thanked Floridians for their continued support of the presidency and noted the administration's approval of Governor Ron DeSantis. He later criticized Joe Biden's economic plan for the nation by emphasizing its flawed policies, which he said will hurt the middle and lower classes. He called Biden's plan outrageous and told the crowd, we're going to make sure that America never becomes a socialist country. Pence concluded his remarks by telling the crowd to get out and vote. He reiterated it will take at least 4 more years to drain the swamp and encouraged voters to work as hard as President Trump has every day for the American people. He has worked every day very hard for the American people. And I can definitely attest to that. So, here we go. This is a big story here. California 28th Congressional District has a fight going on right now between incumbent Adam Schiff and Republican candidate Eric Early is focused on mental health and for the homeless people, abolishing the AB 5. Early is running against incumbent Congressman Adam Schiff to represent California. Now, I don't know if any of y'all understand what Adam Schiff is about, but Adam Schiff is already, people. We need to get out and vote. In some ways, I would like, get him out of office, get Nancy Pelosi out of office, we can deal with the rest of them. But the problem is this. Adam Schiff is already talking about seeking to find some new way to start an impeachment against President Trump. He's already stated it in the media. And of course, we know Nancy's going to hop on the road if she gets back into office. We need to vote them out. She needs to retire, and Adam Schiff needs to go ahead and get a job in Hollywood because he wants to be in theatrics. He wants to be a movie star. You could tell through the way he acted when he was doing the impeachment farce. He just acted things out like he was giving a soliloquy. Give me a break. Eric Early is running against that incumbent Adam Schiff in California District 28, the 28th District. Early said he doesn't have respect for his opponent after the impeachment trial and the investigation into the Russia collusion in 2016. If he wins, Early plans to tackle homelessness by creating a public-private partnership to build the country's mental health system. Early wants to repeal the controversial Assembly Bill 5, which classifies most independent contractors as employees. Early ran for Attorney General in 2018 against Xavier Becerra and Stephen Bailey and Dave Jones. He received 943,000 votes in the primary election, but that wasn't enough to qualify him for general election. Nobody knew me politically at that time, and I campaigned up and down the state. I met many great people, and I got almost 1 million votes statewide. It was an incredible experience. I met so many great people, Early said. In March, Early beat several other candidates in the primary election for District 28. Early and Schiff advanced to the general election this November. Early got about 23,000 votes, 12.6%, and Schiff got about more than 110,000 votes, or 59.6%, according to Ballot Peter, which I don't really trust. Early has been endorsed by LA County Republican Party and California State Republican Party. I live in the 28th district here, and I would watch the Sunday morning shows, and I'd watch Mr. Schiff get on TV and talk to all of us about how President Trump, Schiff had evidence that President Trump colluded with the Russians to get elected. And you know I don't have access to classified intelligence, but I knew from the get-go that Mr. Schiff was lying to me and lying to the American people. And frankly, I took that personally. I didn't like it, Early said, and I also, for a long time now, have believed that we're really in an internal battle in our nation. I believe it's a battle of good versus evil, quite frankly. So I spoke to my family. I spoke to the political folks, and I knew, and I jumped into the race. Mr. Early, I want to bring you on my program. Please try to get in touch with us, or you contact us by email if somebody knows him. Please get him in touch with me. He has the same views that I have, and I want to get him on my program so we can talk about Mr. Schiff. Anyway, in Special Counsel Robert S. Mueller, thirds, I guess it was, 448 pages document titled Report an Investigation into Russian Interference in the 2016 election. He wrote that while the Russian government interfered with the 2016 presidential election in sweeping and systematic fashion, the investigation did not establish that members of Trump campaign conspired or coordinated with the Russian government in the election interference activity. And now, even in recent days, with Radcliffe's report, we are seeing also that Hillary Clinton, President Obama, and several other people involved in that staff already knew about this collusion effort. Hillary Clinton set it up through this phony dossier to try to trap President Trump in a big lie. And she lost anyway. So we're going to take a short break right now here on the Black Conservative Voice. We'll be right back with you in a moment.
President Trump made a promise to protect our Social Security and Medicare. He kept that promise, and he always will. Today, Social Security and Medicare are strong, and under President Trump, they will never be cut. President Trump is protecting pre-existing conditions. Prescription drugs are more affordable. The cost of insulin is going down. Under President Trump, our benefits and our health care are safe and secure.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice with David Colbert here on the CTM News Network, the Voice of Truth. One of the biggest issues for Early is homelessness, which he calls an epidemic and a terrible human tragedy. According to Los Angeles Homeless Service Authority, there are currently more than 66,000 unhoused people in Los Angeles County. That's ridiculous, people. Early doesn't believe taxing Angelenos through measures of HHH has worked. In fact, he said it has failed miserably. In the interview with Inside Edition's LA City Comptroller Ron Galperin said only 179 supportive units and 49 other units have been built so far using Measure HHH dollars. Galperin called the process slow and expensive. Unfortunately, most of these people are severely mentally ill, You could give them the keys to their own condo and they can't take care of themselves. So my plan is as follows. And of course, I would have to meet with experts and everything to work this out in more detail. But first of all, from D.C., I will do whatever I can to work on rebuilding our nation's mental health care system from the ground up. It doesn't exist. It was decimated starting in the 1960s when hundreds of thousands of people with severe mental illness were let out on the streets, Early said. They were supposed to be, the plan was to have local community-based clinics, and then these people would also get tons of medication from Big Pharma. The whole thing has been a complete failure. We need a national mental health care system. Early envisions this mental health care system as a public and private partnership. He goes on to say, we need a private money coming in for that because everybody knows the government, federal and state, is essentially broke. Statewide, we have huge swaths of vacant federal and state land. Many of them have abandoned structures on them all around the state of California. From my position in federal government, I would want to work with whatever state officials would work with me. We have to take those properties. We have to do what we can to spruce up the abandoned building structures on these properties. It doesn't need to be beautiful, but folks need a roof over their head. They need heat to the extent necessary, and probably will be necessary, Early said. Early understands that some people might exercise their right to refuse to be moved from the street into housing units. We've got a body of law that we've got to work around that says if somebody can't find housing, it's their right if they want to live on the street. And so I've studied other states, other jurisdictions that have had to work around that exact same problem by the order of law enforcement. Give law enforcement the instructions to immediately state removing the homeless off the street, and sometimes it's against their will. In fact, many times it will be against their will, but there's a way that they work within the existing body of law to do that and to get them into the kind of structures and housing that he's talking about. At base, has to start, and with Congress, who actually cares about this stuff, Early said. Before he was managing partner at Early, Sullivan and Wright and Geezer and McCrae LLP, Early was post-production supervisor and the Transformers franchise, and also on the G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, and Jim and Hologram series. I know we get into that. I'm not sure what that has to do with Early's experience, but it is his experience. And he wrote, I wrote a couple of Jim and Hologram and a couple of G.I. Joes. Did not write a My Little Pony, but for the past 27 years, I've been practicing attorney. Early said I started out at a great law firm in Century City, one of the most prominent in the country, frankly, as a business litigator. And 10 years ago, myself and 4 colleagues left. We now have our own firm and up to 125 lawyers. So we're going to take a break right now. We'll be right back with you in a moment here on the Black Conservative Voice, here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth.
Do you care about Black lives? I do. And unlike the people that currently run Baltimore, I actually have a plan to make life better for Black people here. Walk with me. I want you to see this. I'm Kim Klasick. This is Baltimore, the real Baltimore. This city was once among the most prosperous, populated, and powerful cities in America. So what happened? Our leaders abandoned us and Baltimore fell into ruin. But it doesn't have to be this way. None of this has to be this way. A broken Baltimore does not have to be our future. And that's why I'm running for Congress, because I see the city differently. I walk the streets of Baltimore and see what could be. I want you to see what I see. I see Baltimore that picks up trash. There are piles of garbage all around Baltimore. It makes life unsafe for our families. I'll work with city leaders to get Baltimore's Solid Waste Bureau the resources it needs to take out the trash. Our streets should be a reflection of our leaders. Clean, not dirty. Much of our trash gathers in abandoned homes. There are over 17,000 abandoned buildings in Baltimore. They are a scar on the face of our city. I will support tax credits and incentive programs to give residents a chance to buy and rehabilitate these homes. Everyone deserves a safe community and a chance at home ownership. Let's put the charm back in Charm City. Who will live in these homes? The newly employed constituents of Baltimore City. This district needs more jobs. The best way to get them is by having businesses invest in our community. The Tax Cuts and Jobs Act gives federal tax incentive to drive private investment into opportunity zones just like Baltimore. Who will work in all of these new jobs if we don't have an educated workforce? 9 out of 10 Black boys in Baltimore are not reading at grade level. Over a dozen high schools in Baltimore have zero students proficient in math. This is a tragedy. We can end the school-to-prison pipeline with school choice, providing parents with options to escape schools that do not serve our children. Let's leave Baltimore better for our kids. Isn't that the point? That's my vision for Baltimore. The corrupt leaders hate it. They attack me for taking a stand, for wanting better for our people, our children, our communities. But I'm not the only one who wants better. Tens of millions of you have shared the struggle of Black people in Baltimore. You lifted our voices. You cared about our Black lives more than our own Democrat leaders. They have done nothing for us. Now they can't hide. It's time for change. We are that change. I'm Kim Klacik, and I'm running for Congress because I actually care about Black lives. All Black lives matter. Our communities matter. We matter. And Baltimore doesn't have to vote Democrat.
Welcome back. You're watching the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network, the voice of truth. I'm David Colbert. Going on to say, I've been a managing partner since day one. This is what he earlier is talking about his law firm. Now we're going to go ahead and make this last statement here. You know, when I was working in the film industry long ago, I worked as a combination independent contractor, W-2 employee. I know that the world very well. And the notion that this state, California, has now made with limited exception independent contractors, freelancers, and gig workers illegal is an outrage to me. Early said, I will do whatever I can from D.C. to work with folks here to state to repeal the law. And plus, I don't know if a lot of your viewers, he says, no, but there's a federal version of AB 5 pending in Congress right now. It's got a different number, but it would have the same effects around the rest of the country as the AB 5 has here. You know, he says here in this statement here, Early believes the shift put this nation through trauma with the investigation into the Russia collusion during the 2016 election and President Trump's impeachment trial. Unfortunately, I don't have much respect for Adam Schiff, he said. And neither do most of this country, I believe. That's why he's hiding out, because he's a Democrat and he knows that this country does not respect his foolishness and all the foolishness he's put through. And what I told you before, Nancy Pelosi and all them and Hillary Clinton knew about this collusion. They invented the garbage. Anyway, we are here at the Black Conservative Voice here on the CTM News Network. We have advertising spots open. They're very low price. So you, as your business, bring your business on here, advertise with us. We have a viewing audience of 10 to 15,000, up to 22,000 per episode. So come on, advertise with us. advertise your campaign. There's a few more weeks to the election. Please, if somebody knows Mr. Early, I would love to have him chime in with me here on the program. We can have a on-air discussion about Adam Schiff and all the shiftiness with him. We're going to seek out and see if we can reach out to his people to get him on this program. Well, once again, I'm giving the opportunity to advertise with this program. It's very, very low cost. You can advertise with our station. Our station is up 24/7, so you can advertise your commercial. The election's coming close, and so you want to keep yourself fresh in the people's mind. Please do advertise with us. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice. My name is David Colbert. I'm here to present the news and conservative viewpoint. I've been a conservative for many years. I started out in the Democrat Party. We believed in them for a while until we found that they kept lying when they went to Congress and when they went to the Senate. They just kept saying, oh, we're going to do this, we're going to do this, and nothing was ever done. Whenever they were sent to visit the community, they somehow had something else to do. So we need to get away from this, people. So in November, coming up in November, vote Republican, vote Nancy Pelosi, vote Adam Schiff, vote Chuck Schumer out of office. Get them out of there. They're corrupt. Vote out AOC, vote out Ilhan Omar. These people they talk about racism. They talk about all these different things. But these people are socialists. They hate families. They hate the nuclear family. Yes, some of them may have been married, but this organization that they back, Black Lives Matter and Antifa movement, they do not like the family. And I like what Mr. Early said, as I was reading earlier in his statements. He said that there's an evil going on in this country, and the fight is not against these politicians. It is against the evil that is in this world. And that is one of the reasons why I like to talk to a candidate for the 28th District of California, Mr. Early. Once again, I want to thank you for joining us here on the Black Conservative Voice. My name is David Colbert, and I want to say, as I always do, God bless you, God bless America, and God bless the world. Until next time, this is David Colbert saying good night and God bless.